Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating piece of space history. We're going to look at how an astonishingly basic error completely doomed a major NASA mission back in 1999. We often think that exploring the cosmos takes nothing but the most complex math, flawless high-tech engineering, and brilliant minds working perfectly in sync. But, as you'll see, sometimes the absolute biggest disasters come from the absolute smallest oversights. So, what actually ruins a perfect space mission? Think about it for a second. When we picture a spacecraft failing millions of miles from Earth, our minds instantly jump to massive technological breakdowns, right? Like a blown engine, a totally fried computer circuit, or maybe even a collision with an asteroid. But what if the true cause was something far more ordinary? What if the root of a massive cosmic failure was just an everyday oversight that literally anyone could make? This brings us to Section 1, the 1999 Mars launch and the illusion of perfection. We kick off our story at what really seemed to be a moment of absolute triumph. In 1999, NASA launched a highly anticipated spacecraft directly toward Mars. The energy was electric, and right out of the gate, every single detail was going exactly according to plan. Pushing a craft out of Earth's atmosphere and threading the needle to hit a target as distant as another planet is a monumental task. And those initial launch numbers, they showed a beautifully clean, flawless departure right into the solar system. But that initial success was incredibly deceptive. Everything looked perfect, right? Up until scientists discovered a tiny problem. And the suspense here built really quickly when the folks monitoring the flight suddenly realized something was just off. I really want to emphasize the word tiny here. We are talking about a glaring, flashing red light on a control panel screaming about a mechanical explosion. No, it was this subtle, quiet little discrepancy buried deep in the orbital data. Which leads right into Section 2, metric versus imperial units, and honestly, the absurd error. This almost defies belief, especially for a mission of this magnitude. On one side, you've got Team 1, diligently running all their critical calculations using metric units, but then, on the other side, you have Team 2, a totally separate group working on the exact same mission, and they were using imperial units. No way, right? Unbelievably, two halves of a brilliant NASA operation were speaking two completely different mathematical languages to the exact same spacecraft. The crazy thing to take away here is that this wasn't some high-level astrophysics failing us. It was literally a fundamental systems integration error. A totally simple mistake. When Team 1 fed in metric data and Team 2 fed in imperial data, the spacecraft was just getting completely conflicting instructions. It's like two halves of the vehicle's navigation brain speaking different languages, just fighting for control over the trajectory. It was an absolute catastrophic mismatch. And that brings us to Section 3, Lost Forever in Space, the devastating conclusion. The timeline of all this is honestly just tragic. We start in 1999 with that seemingly perfect launch. Then, mid-flight, we get the horrifying realization of the unit mismatch, where scientists finally uncover this massive integration failure. And then, arrival. The spacecraft entirely misses Mars. Because of those conflicting numbers, the trajectory was irrevocably altered. It turned a massively funded, historic mission of discovery into a total loss. Because of this one simple mistake, the spacecraft missed Mars and was lost forever. Without that basic alignment on metric versus imperial units, the spacecraft just couldn't enter Martian orbit as planned. Instead, it literally just kept going. It completely missed the red planet and drifted out into the vast, dark void of space, totally lost to us. It's a profound, mission-ending loss, all triggered by something so incredibly basic. As we wrap up this explainer, it leaves us with kind of a haunting realization about basic miscommunication. Think about it. If a simple mistake cost us Mars, what tiny mismatches are we missing today? It really forces us to look at how we communicate, coordinate, and align our goals in our own complex projects. Because sometimes before we reach for the stars, we just need to make absolutely sure we're using the same ruler. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next one.